Hey, this is Mike from Minimal 3DP, and today I'm unboxing and doing a start of a review for the FLSun T1 Pro Delta printer. So let's go ahead and get started. So recently FLSun sent me their T1 Pro Delta printer to test, and I'm actually really looking forward to taking a look at this printer. I've never used a Delta printer, and when I look at the specifications of this machine, I'm really impressed. So this is going to be pretty exciting. So I'm just going to start off by doing an unboxing, and then we'll take a look at the features and getting it set up. And then once we have it set up, I'll probably do a second video on configuration and all that good stuff. So let's start taking a look. So let me switch over to my camera and we'll unbox the printer. First, I'm going to apologize. I've actually had to set this on the floor. The printers comes in a largish box, and I don't have a large enough table for this. So I'm just going to start with this on the floor. And that way, too, I don't accidentally drop anything. Or if I do, it's on the floor. Now, I did recently vacuum, so at least my office doesn't look as big a mess as it normally does. So, starting off, everything looks really well packed. So, I'm pleased with that. Now, looks like we have plastic wrap here. So, let me tear that open. Now, be smart, put up my knife, because the last thing I need to do is cut myself. Let's use this to set that, get that aside. Now, let me pause for a second. And what I'm going to do, well, let's see if we can get this out. Oh, there we go. Now, looking at this, I'm basically seeing the top of the printer up here, bottom of the printer down here. Bed size is big. I believe this is 260 millimeters. And then by 300. And so let's start off by getting the manual out, and we'll take a look at this and see what this has in it. I've started looking through the manual, and it actually appears to be very well written and organized. And I just want to point out a couple things. I'm just looking at this first step, and you'll notice take out one top shell. Well, turns out everything here appears to be labeled. So here's the top shell labeled as 1. And then it also mentions the filament holder is 10. And I'm seeing that here in this little bag. So again, each of these parts is labeled. And that's actually awesome, because it should make putting this together significantly easier. Now, in order to do this, what I'm going to do is switch the camera over so it's looking at my workspace. And I'm going to move the top piece over to my desk so we can look and literally just follow along with the manual and put it together. Looking at this, again, everything seems to be labeled, so I'm really happy with that. Since I mentioned I haven't used or put together a Delta printer before, having things well labeled is going to be excellent. Now, the only thing I'm hoping is the stickers come off pretty easily. So let me switch over to my desk and we'll start pulling pieces out of the box. I've gotten the top out, and I just want to point out that there was some bubble wrap pushed underneath here, so I pulled that out. I'm also seeing this tag. Please guide the filament through the latch slot to prevent tangling. So I need to sort of figure out what the latch slot is. And I believe first things first, we need to put the filament holders right in there. So let's get those out, and let's get our screws out as well. I had a small gripe here. I was looking online and I couldn't find a PDF of their manual. But when I did a search, I did find their wiki, which I'm actually really pleased with. I have that on screen. So it has links to just about everything you could possibly want to do with this printer. And it actually seems to be pretty detailed and broken up real well. Now, it's not a PDF, but this is something I can live with. And I'm looking through everything here, and this just looks really, I guess, detailed. And I can sort of see how everything needs to be put together. And they're showing pictures and everything else, and this is much better than the printed guide. It's a great supplement. So what I'm going to do is, let me see if I can get both these on the screen at the same time. Start off, all the screws are in this tiny little bag, which is actually handy. I'm just going to put them out here, and it's looking like almost everything is labeled. So, or better yet, everything is labeled. Now, let me see what I need for this M36s. So let me get a empty magnetic jar here, or magnetic thing. So I'm just going to set this here. And we have M36s. We have 24 of those. So I'm just going to open this up. And let's dump those out. I'm going to need 4 of these, 2 here, 2 here, for the filament install. Now I'm just going to use my drivers. They do have a toolkit with this, so it comes with everything, but I prefer to use my own drivers. Nothing wrong with that. And so let's get the part 10 out of here. So again, we're just taking part 10 out, and as you can see, it's labeled. And I'm just looking at the directions, and I'm looking at the online pictures. My bad, it needs to be like this. That'll clip into here. So let's put the first screws in, and I'm not going to go very far with these. I'm just going to start them. So these are just going to come in here. Just slip in like this. So let's just tighten these up. I'm not going to tighten them too much because these are plastic. I mean, they're tight enough, I think. Let's do this side. So we've slipped those in. Let's tighten them in. Filament holders are on there now. And now let's take a look at our next set of steps. Now we simply need to put the bracket pin in. That looks like it goes like this. So you slip it in, push it down around this. That locks it in. And these are actually going to come out of here and come down, looking at later steps. So let me go to the next step and see what we need to do. So looking at the instructions, we have the top set up. And so I want to move the top, and we're going to bring out the bottom piece or the base piece and set that out and start setting that up. So let me get that out of the box. Now, before I proceed, the printer, and I noticed this as soon as I opened the manual, there's a line right here that by default, it's on 230 volts. And in my case, I need it on 115. The selector switch is over this side. Since everything's taken apart, it's easy for me to move around, so I went ahead and switched it. Make sure you do the same. Now, for the orientation, I have this oriented with the USB port down towards the bottom here. So it's down here, and it's facing me and the camera. Now, as far as I can tell, what that means is, I'm just going to write this really small. This is the x-axis, Y, and Z. So I'm just writing that very small. You can hardly see it, but that way I have that labeled and I can find things really easily. So what I'm going to do next is put the arms and supports in here, and those should be labeled. And so we're looking for part number 3. Okay, so here is part number 3. Now what I've done is I need to pull the cord out of the X side. So we just want the cord unwrapped and pushed over here. And then we're simply going to take this, and this is going to slide down into the groove here. Now, once we have it in that groove, we're not going to screw it in just yet till we have the top, but we want to literally make sure we get all of the different arms in here. So we have part number 3. Now Y is part number 11. So let's get that out of the box and we'll slip that in. Again, we're not putting the screws in just yet. Now on these arms, on the belt, let's see if we can see this here. There's a little clip. So you need to take these clips out. Okay. And the other thing I've done, and this is getting a little awkward, but I'll suffer through it. I've taken this cord out for the LEDs, and I've also taken it out here. And I believe I'm actually going to just take these and plug these in. So I believe that just needs to go there. And then let me move these cords out of the way. There we go. And that arm's in. And then the last one is, let's see what the number is, 15. And I just need to undo the tape in the box, slip that out. Again, we'll take off the tape and then take off the clip. Taking off these clips is easier when you don't have everything put together. And again, we're just going to take this and then slip this down here. So that's pretty quick and easy. And our next step, we need to go ahead and slip on the top. So let's take a look at the top piece and make sure I understand which side's which on that. What I'm doing next is putting on the top, and I'm going to leave the bottom oriented as it is, and then I want to orient this where FLSun, the text, is pointing towards the front. It's oriented the same way as the bottom of the printer. So again, facing the camera. Now I did undo some of the wires here so they're hanging down. Tentatively, this is actually looking really good. Now, the top did sort of click in, which I think is good. And now I'm going to take my M412s and I want to screw in the bottom, which has 4 screws, top 4 screws. So I'm going to do that all the way around off camera because nobody wants to watch that. And I have a bunch of screws to put in, so I'll be back in a couple minutes. And one thing I do want to show with the screws is I've noticed there's reading the directions, they have a specific way they want you to do this. So what I'm going to point out is you're going to want to do these diagonals. So you're going to do screw 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And according to the directions, you want to screw the bottom in first. So do all around the bottom first, and then switch over to the top. So again, diagonals, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the order you're going to put the screws in. So right now I'm putting together the extruder. And I'm going to start with these smaller screws. And these are M35s. And the way it's telling me to do this, if I'm interpreting everything correctly, let me get my drivers, is I'm just putting these in slightly. So I'm going to take this, and I'm interested in the inside holes. So I just want to do 2 or 3 turns here just to get these in. I'm leaving the outside hole empty for right now. So I'm just getting these in. There should be 6. I might be installing these a little too far, but I think it's all right. I can always loosen them. It's telling me 1 to 2 turns. I'm doing like 3, just simply because I'm so used to dropping screws constantly as I normally do. So now the next thing I need to do is I actually have these grub screws, and they're going to go in the outside holes here. So I need 6 of those. So I'm going to put those in off camera, and then I'll come and show you the finished product. Okay, so I have all the screws in. So you can sort of see how this is set up. So it's grub screw and then the bigger screw. You just do that all the way around. So I have that, and that way I'm pretty sure that the arms are going to go in here to hold up the extruder. So let me see what, sorry about that. Let me see what my next steps are and see how I need to get these installed. So this could be a little hard to see. I'll see if I can keep adjusting the camera. So I'm going to take the extruder, and I want the name FLSun pointed so I can read it. Now, I need to use these isolation columns. So let's get those out. And I need 1. So let's get out 1 isolation column. And I'm just going to slip this on the bar here. So I want to slip that on. And I'll notice there's a flat part here, and that's facing up. And I'm just going to slip this in here. And I want to stretch this over. Get that on that side. So have this like this. And what I'm going to do is tighten the grub screw. I'm going to take this arm. And I probably should have taken out some of these isolation thingies. I'm going to slip this on the other side here. So I'm going to slip this on the bar on the other side, and then just stretch this over and get it in there. So I have that in. I want to make sure it looks like that's in. So what I'm going to do is tighten this other grub screw. Let's do this arm now. So I have the arm. And this is a little hard to do. I'm going to take the arm. You can see it here. Lift this up. Just slip this side in. And again, let's tighten that grub screw. I'm just tightening the grub screw first, and I'll do the other screw. I got the grub screw in. I'm just going to put the isolation piece in on this side. And then there's a spring here. I just want to stretch it. And get it in the hole. Yeah. So I have that in. And just tightening that grub screw. And then I want to do the same with the back. I just need to get everything out from the belts here. I'll do this side first. Again, my isolation piece here. Bring this up. And let's see if I can get a little bit more light in here. It's probably going to be a little hard to see, but it's what it is. Slip this in. And let's tighten that grub screw, and then I got to tighten basically all the screws here. So I think I have that tight. So let me move on to the next step. So I have the air hose pulled down. Now I'm simply going to push this Need to make sure this is straight. Then just push it down on the bottom here. Now I need to be careful. It doesn't want me to twist. It's basically saying to just push it on. So I'm just going to wiggle it back and forth. That doesn't necessarily feel totally correct. We're just going to sort of roll with that for right now. And then what we're going to do is take this piece, and if you notice, there's like a bracket here. That's going to slip around the back here, and it needs to plug in. So I'm going to plug it in, and it looks like I have two screws here that are actually going to hold the wiring in. Let me get those screws in there, and I need to figure out what screws are needed. And these are the M36s. So we've used those earlier. There we go. Just a matter of getting the screw in the right angle here. So there we have that one in. And let me go to my next step. Now for my next step, over here on the Y-axis, I have the camera. And there's two little notches here. And so I'm going to put the camera into those notches so it snaps in. And then all I need to do is plug the camera in down here in this USB port. So what I'm going to do is just loop this up here so it stays out of the way. Okay. So I'm just sort of pushing the cord out of the way. Camera's installed. It's pointing down towards the bed. So we have that installed. Now, what that sort of means, which is interesting, is the camera is really, we're looking at the model, particularly how it's sitting on the bed, as opposed to monitoring the whole print. Because the camera is pointed down here, and it doesn't move up and down the side. So yeah, this is fixed, mostly looking at the bed. But that's okay. So we have the camera installed, and I also, when I plugged everything in, I did plug in the LED over here. Now we're going to work on installing all the various cables and running those. So let's get started with getting the limit switches in, and let me switch my camera angles. So I'm looking up on the X-axis here. What I simply need to do is take the cords here. So I need to basically just plug these in. So these are the motor and then the limit switches. So I'm just plugging those in, and I'm doing that all the way around. So I'm not just doing the X-axis, I'm doing Y and Z as well. Okay, so we have those plugged in, so that's good. Now, over here on the side, we have, and let me see if I can move this. Move here. I have some screws here. I'm going to take this off. This cover is going to be used to hold this cord. So this cord's going to go up behind this panel. So I have 3 screws here on this panel, and I just need to take that off. So I want the cord all the way in. So I said there's like a little slot here it can fit in. So just put that up towards the top. So I have the panel back on. Now I'm just going to plug in these plugs up here. So I have a C-type connector. And let me get this angled in correctly. There we go. And I need to get this cord plugged in. There we go. And I actually need a cord cover to go over that. So let me find that piece. And I believe this is it right here. So let's see. I'm understanding this correctly. Need to make sure that's in there. Now this actually snaps into this groove here. So as you can see, you can push these corners in, these sides in, and it should snap in. So let's see if we can get that to go. So that did snap in. The cable cover just needed to be snapped in place, didn't need to be screwed. So now I'm going to take off this piece of tape because I now need to install the screen. So I'm just going to very carefully get out this ribbon cable. So I have the ribbon cable here. And now I need the screen. The screen is part number 9. That's part 9. This might be a little hard to see, but let me see if I can show it anyway. So here's the back of the screen, and I have the little black piece here pointing towards me. Now very carefully, I want to pull that up. So if you look, I've just hinged it up. So it's hinged up, and then I'm going to take the cord here, blue side up, and slip it in the back here. And I want to be careful not to fold anything or bend anything. I want to push this in. So I have that in, and then I'm going to push the black part down again. That should, as you can see, that's holding the screen cable in place. Let me just make sure that looks straight, and it does. Then I'm just simply taking the screen, slipping it in these grooves. We're down, and then take off the screen protector. So the screen is in place. So with the screen in place, we need to go ahead and install the panels on the printer so it's totally enclosed. So let me go ahead and work on that and get the panels out, and we'll get it together. So for my next step, I'm going to install the braces for the rear panel. And these, again, are a bunch of tiny screws, which is okay. Again, just have to, there's holes right here in the back on the Z, and so we're going to start by just doing the top screw, and I'll do the top screw on the Z axis. And then I'm going to do the top screw on the Y axis. I'm just getting these screws in. So I'll get those in, and I just need to do this on both sides. So there's 2 of these brackets. One going from Z to Y and one going from Z to X. And this will be for the panels. This is, again, fairly straightforward. The only real problem I've had is just making sure I'm reading the directions and not missing any steps. So we have and this. So this is the Z to X. Let me finish doing this off camera, and I'll come back and we'll take a look. Okay, so I've taken the plastic sheets off the panels. I'm looking at this on the side. I'm going to slip this in. And put this over here. Now, looking at this, there's little clips here. I just want to slide those clips up. There's clips at the top as well. Just push those down, that's holding. And then we have some screws here right in the middle on our braces. So we're just going to put in 2 screws here. And there we go. I'm not going to tighten these too much. I just want them barely in or barely tight. We're just hand tightening them. So the last thing I want to do is crack the plastic. That looks good. And these are slightly, they're not really tinted, are they? Maybe a little bit. So let me put the other side on, and then we'll come and take a look at the door. So to put on the front cover, I've put a gasket. It's very hard to see, but there's a gasket on this M3 6 screw, and I'm basically just going to screw the glass in, and the gasket's going to protect the glass from the screw. So I'm basically just taking and I'm just going to hold this in here and start this screw. This is going to be really hard to get started, probably. I'm not going to tighten this too much. Now, I should have prepared several screws with more gaskets. Let me get this top screw in. So let's see. Right here, I have a screw with gasket on it. So I'm just going to go over here, line the glass up. Moving this around, let me pause, and I'll get the rest of the glass on off camera. So as you can see, I now have the printer all put together. Everything is looking really good. The one thing I have to do is plug it in. So let me find the cord here. This is what I get for putting everything all over my office. Mainly the dang box was so big, I need to make space. So just a standard cord. So let me undo this. And we're just going to power it on and go through the initial boot sequence. And then I'll do another video as we do the first configuration, tuning, and all that good stuff. So now let's zoom in on the screen so you can see the screen. I'm just going to start with English. We're going to go ahead and select my router. Let me pause it and put in the password. So I've successfully joined my network. I'm going to hit next. And it looks like we're in. So we have it powered on and the initial setup complete, just the build sequence. Next, we're going to go through in my next segment, go through setting up everything. Right now, the other thing I'm seeing is it looks like we have a firmware update, and I'll go ahead and do that off camera. But anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please post them below. Again, I want to thank FLSun for sending me this printer to test. Just my basic thoughts on the build. Very easy to put together. My only complaint, and this isn't an FLSun complaint, lots of small screws. But anyway, pretty easy to put together. So I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. Have a good day.